Welcome to SecedNowUSA.com. Our goal is to explain what is really going on in the United States in easy-to-understand videos. This video deals with unfunded liabilities.
Hi Brian. Thanks for coming. I see you were able to find my father's office. Did you have any trouble getting here?
No. I just walked from the library. Where is everybody? It looks like the office is closed.
With all of the companies downsizing, a lot of people have been laid off. So, there are a lot of vacant offices here. My dad thought this would be a good place to talk.
Yesterday, you said you wanted to talk about unfunded liabilities. That sounds pretty ominous.
More than you could ever know. Let me see if I can explain unfunded liabilities in simple terms. Let's say that you promised to buy me dinner tomorrow night but you had no money. That would be an unfunded liability. It is a liability because you promised to pay. And it is unfunded because you have no money.
But who in their right mind would promise to pay something when they had no money?
The government does it all the time. For example, they made promises to pay for government employees' retirement but never set money aside for the purpose.
Then where do they expect to get the money from when these people retire in the future?
They just assume that they will raise taxes or borrow the money.
But that means that they are expecting their children to pay for their retirement. Who thought up that scam?
Once again, it was our marvelous politicians. They promised all of these benefits in order to get re-elected but didn't want to raise taxes to pay for them.
Oh, boy. I think I had better sit down. So what you are saying is that, in order to get re-elected they promised something that they couldn't afford.
And, they didn't have the guts to raise taxes to pay for it. They knew that if they raised taxes that the voters would get mad. So they just kicked the can down the road.
These politicians are gutless. How do they expect our generation to pay for our parents' retirement when we can't even find a job?
Now, are you starting to understand why I am so worried about our future?
Yes. But I've got a feeling that you haven't told me everything. Go ahead. Let me have it. I've got broad shoulders.
I'm sorry, Brian. But nobody has shoulders broad enough to handle what I'm about to tell you. The government pensions are just a small part of the unfunded liabilities. The unfunded liabilities in Social Security, Medicare and the prescription drug programs are enormous.
Wait just a minute. I know that employers withhold money from each employee's paycheck for Social Security and Medicare. The employer is required to match these funds and then the money is deposited into the Social Security Trust Fund. So, if the money is in a trust fund, then how could it be an unfunded liability?
You are forgetting two things. First, Congress promised more in Social Security and Medicare benefits than were covered by the money deposited into the trust fund. Second, Congress forced the trust fund to invest the funds in U.S. government bonds. In other words, Congress spent the money on other programs and replaced the money with worthless pieces of paper. I say they are worthless because the government does not have the ability to repay these loans without raising taxes or borrowing other funds.
So you are telling me that all of the money that senior citizens have put into the Social Security Trust Fund were spent by Congress? You have already told me that the national debt is headed toward $20 trillion. Surely, the unfunded liabilities can't be that big.
You might want to sit down again. Nobody knows for sure how large they are because the estimates are based on assumptions, not facts. The total amount owed will depend on how long senior citizens live, how much medical care they will need, the cost of that medical care and the rate of inflation. But based on best estimates, the total of the unfunded liabilities is approximately $127 trillion. That is 7.5 times as much as the national debt.
Are you sure? Where did you get this information from?
My dad showed me. It's on a very reliable website hacked. www.usdebtclock.org. If you scroll down to the bottom of the screen you can see the unfunded liabilities.
Then, why aren't our elected officials telling us about this problem?
Some are. But most of them are scared. They know that our real debt is worse than Greece, and that is pretty bad. There could be riots in the streets. Let me put this problem into perspective. If you include the national debt, plus the unfunded liabilities, it amounts to almost $2 million for each and every family of 4.
Wow! I think I'll sit down. That means we really are bankrupt. There is no way that we can ever pay that off. What are we going to do?
There are a group of people who are preparing to secede from the Union. They now believe that there's no way for the liberals and conservatives to live together. The conservatives know that this country is broke, and the liberals don't care. The conservatives want to form a country that was based on the Constitution as envisioned by our founding fathers. It would constitutionally limit the government spending, return the rights to the states and their citizens.
That sounds pretty radical. Is there no other solution?
It won't sound so radical to you after I've told you the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. Let's meet back here tomorrow and I'll have my dad go over the details.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please tell your friends. Our next video will cover the Federal Reserve. Please stay tuned.